Halfway up the tree, I had built a small platform on which I would often spend the afternoons when it wasn't too hot. I could read there, propping myself up against the bole of the tree with cushions taken from the drawing room. Treasure Island, Huckleberry Finn, the Mowgli stories, and the novels of Edgar Rice Burroughs and Louis M. Alcott made up my bag of very mixed reading. I built a small platform halfway up the tree. I spent, the boys spent the afternoons when it wasn't too hot, spending afternoon. I could read there, supporting myself up against the bole of the tree. Bole means trunk of a tree. Bole of the tree with the cushions taken from the drawing room. He took cushions from the drawing room and kept on the tree, halfway up the tree. Which all books he read? Treasure Island. Treasure Island is a novel by Robert Louis Stevenson. Huckleberry Finn is a novel by Mark Twain. And the Mowgli stories by Rudyard Kipling. And the novels of Edgar Rice Burroughs and Louis M. Alcott. All these books he read. When I did not feel like reading, I could look down through the banyan leaves at the world below, at grandmother hanging up or taking down the washing, at the cook quarreling with a fruit vendor, or at grandfather grumbling at the hardy Indian marigolds which insisted on springing up all over his very English garden. Usually nothing very exciting happened while I was in the banyan tree. But on one particular afternoon, I had enough excitement to last me through the summer. When he did not feel like reading, he could look down through the banyan leaves. What all scenes he could see through banyan leaves? Grandmother hanging up or taking out the washing. He could see grandmother hanging up the clothes or taking down the washing. Another scene he could see cook quarreling with a fruit vendor. Vendor means a seller. Cook quarreling with fruit seller. Another scene grandfather grumbling at the hardy Indian marigolds. Grandfather complaining or murmuring. Complaining at the hardy Indian marigolds. Hardy means strong. Marigolds, it's a very common garden flower. Indian marigolds, which insisted on springing up all over his very English garden. That was the complaint. Insisted on springing up all over his very English garden. All over his very English garden, hard Indian marigolds. Usually nothing very exciting happened. Nothing happened while I was in the banyan tree. He could see all these scenes. Grandmother, grandfather, cook and the fruit vendor quarreling. But one particular afternoon, I had enough excitement to last me through the summer. One particular afternoon, something happened. Excitement. What was that? That was the time I saw a mongoose and a cobra fight to death in the garden, while I sat directly above them in the banyan tree. I saw a mongoose. One particular afternoon, I saw a mongoose. It's a carnivorous mammal that kills snakes. Mongoose and a cobra fight to death. There was a fight between these two animals. Mongoose and the cobra fight to death. That was the scene. One particular afternoon, he could see the fight between mongoose and cobra fight to death in the garden. While I sat directly above them in the banyan tree, while he was sitting in the banyan tree, he could see the fight between mongoose and the cobra. That was the particular scene. Particular afternoon, he could see that. It was an April afternoon, and the warm breezes of approaching summer had sent everyone, including grandfather, indoors. I was feeling drowsy myself and was wondering if I should go to the pond behind the house for a swim when I saw a huge black cobra gliding out of the clump of the cactus and making for some cooler part of the garden. At the same time, a mongoose, whom I had often seen, emerged from the bushes and went straight for the cobra. It was in April afternoon. Warm breeze of approaching summer had sent everyone. Breezes of approaching summer had sent everyone. Everyone was staying at home, including grandfather. Grandfather was also at home, indoors. I was feeling drowsy. The boy felt drowsy and wondering if I should go to the pond. He thought to go to the pond for a swim. At that time, he saw a huge black cobra. He could see while he was sitting in the banyan tree, he could see a huge black cobra gliding out of the clump, gliding, walking like a wave. Out of the clump, clump means collection, group, clump of cactus, and making for some cooler part of the garden. Black cobra going to the cooler part of the garden. At the same time, a mongoose. Same time, mongoose, whom I had often seen. Mongoose also came forward, emerged, came out from the bushes and went straight for the cobra. Both these animals. What will happen? In a clearing beneath the tree, in bright sunshine, they came face to face. Who came face to face? Mongoose and the cobra. Clearing beneath the tree. The boy is sitting on the banyan tree and he could see all these scenes. Bright sunshine. They came face to face. Cobra knew only too well that the grey mongoose, 3 feet long, was a superb fighter, clever and aggressive. But the cobra was skillful and experienced fighter too. He could move swiftly and strike with the speed of light, and the sacs behind his long, sharp fangs were full of deadly venom. Cobra knew only too well. Cobra knew that the grey mongoose, 3 feet long mongoose, was a super fighter, excellent fighter. Mongoose is an excellent fighter, clever, aggressive. Aggressive means ready to attack. But Cobra was skillful. Cobra was skillful and experienced fighter too. Both of them are experienced fighters. He could move swiftly. He could move fast and strike with the speed of light. Striking with the speed of light. And the sacs behind his long sharp fangs. Sacs, bag or pouch behind the long sharp fangs. Teeth. Fangs mean teeth. Were full of deadly venom, poison. It was to be a battle of champions. Hissing defiance, his forked tongue darting in and out, the cobra raised 3 of his 6 feet off the ground and spread his broad spectacled hood. The mongoose bushed his tail. The long hair on his spine stood up. In the past, the very thickness of his hair had saved him from bites that would have been fatal to others. Hissing defiance, making noise like whistling. Hissing defiance, his forked tongue darting in and out. Hissing means making noise like whistling. Defiance means resistance. His forked tongue, whose forked tongue? Cobra, black cobra's forked tongue, darting in and out. The cobra raised 3 of his 6 feet off the ground. 6 feet cobra raised 3 feet and spread his broad spectacled hood. Spread his broad spectacled hood. Spectacle means marked like eyeglasses. Hood means covering of the head. Okay, spectacled hood. He spread. The cobra spread his broad spectacled hood. The mongoose bushed his tail. The long hair on his spine back. Spine stood up. Long hair on his spine stood up. Mongoose. In the past, the very thickness of his hair pastime. A very thickness of his hair, mongoose hair, had saved him from bites, snake bites. That would have been fatal to others. That would have been fatal, mortal, very dangerous, capable of killing. This thickness had saved him from bites from other snakes. Though the combatants were unaware of my presence in the banyan tree, they soon became aware of the arrival of two other spectators. One was a myna and the other a jungle crow, not the willy urban crow. They had seen these preparations for battle and had settled on the cactus on which to watch the outcome. Had they been content only to watch, all would have been well with both of them. The other combatants means fighters. These two fighters, mongoose and the cobra, they were unaware of my presence, this boy's presence in the banyan tree. They soon became aware of the arrival of two other spectators, two other viewers. Who were they? One was a myna and the other a jungle crow. Two viewers, spectators, they arrived. Not one was a myna and the other a jungle crow, not the willy urban crow. Willy means clever in cheating, or the willy urban crow. They had seen these preparations for battle. Battle preparation. They had seen myna and the jungle crow. They could see that and had settled on the cactus. They settled on the cactus to watch the outcome. What will happen? They want to see what will happen after the fight.